for. Either that or an early shell flute and dolphin. All right, our runners are off and running here. Nobody with a 15.2 second loss to start off with. They both did remember to hold down. Our first item here is going to be the alarm flute. So right off the bat, we're going to be going straight up into the cave, and we're going to be checking on that windmill guard and seeing what he's holding. No warp boots in the first town. Fairly cheap medical herbs. They both buy 2 each. And we're going to start with a Sword of Thunder. So forget what I just said. We're going to be on the other side of the map, straight off the bat. Here we go. And the windmill key. Well, that's going to give them 2 checks in that first room. So then once they go and talk to Zebu over on the left side of the Valley of Wind, they're going to be able to not only check that windmill guard with the alarm flute, but they're also going to be able to throw that windmill key in and get the entire dungeon open to them. Now, granted, they do not have the Sword and Ball of Wind, so they will not have access to the full dungeon, but they are going to be able to get 3 items from within there. Not to mention, they still have the Queen over on the Portoa side, that they have another item they can go and check. Interestingly, noting that both of them killed the same number of tigers on their way into the cave. However, Tornel's routing through the valley there was much quicker, so he got there a lot faster. Gozen opting to warp out here. That's actually not a bad play, because there is a fairly long walk back from Zebu, so that probably caught him up slightly. You know, having all these tigers here, tigers are extremely easy to kill. Both between the spread on the sword and just stabbing at them. And, you know, with the scaling that they've got, their experience values are not. A glowing lamp. Oh boy, this is interesting. So the glowing lamp, when paired up with the broken statue, gives you the golden statue, which can be used to calm the ocean. That not only gives you an extra check, but if flight is buried somewhere deep, that's going to be their only other method to the other side of the world to get the swan if they can't find change. So we'll have to see what it is. They do have access to Shiren already because they got that Sword of Thunder. But that, you know, without water or flight, they're not getting out of there right now. So we do have a divergence here. Tornel opting to go and see what the Queen of Portoa has before he goes into the cave. So this is an interesting check. It is a little bit out of the way, but it will get him a warp. And it'll also get him an extra item. The item that was normally in the refresh location today is the Ball of Water. So when they find the Sword of Water, they will be able to make bridges right away, as well as up the power of their sword by double. Oh, look at that. That is an extremely cheap pair of warp boots there in Portoa. Those are going to be bought many, many, many times here. 47 gold. I think that's the lowest I have ever seen them. So they're very happy to see that. But who cares? Because the Queen of Portoa was holding on to teleport, so it's not like those warp boots are going to come into play anymore. And I'm sure that Tornel is looking at it going, really? I just bought 3 pairs of warp boots, and now you're going to give that? Gozen, meanwhile, picks up a sword. I actually didn't see what it was. That is quite interesting. I'll have to see when he pauses the menu to see what that sword was. I didn't catch it. Taking out the Mimic here. Mimics are worth a ton of gold. Oh, it was the Sword of Water, apparently. That's great. So Gozen got a Sword of Water, and since they have the ball already, that's going to give him access to the caves on the right side of the map in Portoa once they have the Sword of Wind. So interestingly enough here, that's also going to give them access to both Rage, who's holding an item, as well as the 2 items from Asina and the Dolphin, which they'll be able to get behind there. Rage, however, coughing up a Lysis plant, nobody cares about that. It can be useful once in a blue moon, but let's be honest here, they're not happy to see that. So talking to Mezia there at the back of the lime tree actually is a trigger that has been created specifically for the randomizer. Oh, and today's stream is brought to you by the letter F, as Gozen takes his first death over there on the left screen. So that was a trigger that was added specifically for the randomizer so that we could actually make sure that the triggers work properly with regards to the queen in the whole area back there. It also further emphasizes getting the Sword of Water or the Flight spell, as before it used to be triggered specifically off of Rage, and now it makes those items slightly more useful than before. These mosquitoes are out for blood with Gozen. So Gozen, if he hopefully remembers to, so he can get that teleport spell. Since he has not yet been to Portoa, he actually is going to be able to get 2 items off of the Queen in the Waterway when he gets there. Gozen also opting to fill his inventory full of warp boots. We all know this is a lull moment here. So if you happen to have any trollish looking emotes, throw those into chat because he's going to love what he's about to see. So there's actually a little piece of the water here on the top side that is removed that is not in the base game. Normally you have to go through the fortune teller's hut. And we removed that to make sure that nobody soft locks themselves within the cave. The shell flute is the item from the glowing lamp, so that doesn't matter. So Gozen also picking up his teleport, not particularly happy. And a bow of sun for both of them on the dolphin. That's a great. But now that they have the Sword of Water and the teleport spell, they're going back to Shiren because that's going to give them access to the other side of the map. So now they're going to have access to all of Goa Field. They have 2 chests on Hydra that they can pick up. They've got 2 chests in the Oasis Cave that they can pick up. And if they so desire, they can blow their way into Goa and trigger Meta 1. They can actually kill him at really low scaling here, which is, you know, it's an out-of-logic play, but it may actually pay off. Tornel blasting through that cave and getting that chest so quickly, I actually didn't even get an opportunity to read what it was. He went so fast. We'll get to, hopefully I can catch it over here on Gozen's side as he goes to pick up that same chest right now. Tornel is opting to go up Hydra to grab that first chest. Turns out it was a magic ring. So there is 1 chest here over on Mount Hydra at the top side with the Bow of Sun cave that they can access without the Sword of Wind. Everything else is going to require the Sword of Wind. And hello, Bert! And Bert is in a location that is fun to try to get around if you're not going to sit there and charge him. Oh, and the flight spell! So Gozen is also making the same play here. A great item to find. Okay, so now with the flight spell, they not only are going to have access to the town of Sahara, but they can now fly over the whirlpools. They can now fly on the ocean. So the dolphin is going to be completely out of this. And they're also going to have access to a number of items that are in locations that normally are locked by flight, such as Cave of Styxy and the Oasis Cave. So that's a great pickup right there. Gozen just saying, forget you, Bert, and just grabbing his flight, and he is gone as well. Heading over here into Goa here, Tornel is going to make a checkpoint. He actually doesn't have anything he can do here, unless he wants to try to blow past the statues. Now, he could use flight to get past the statues and trigger Meta 1 and go with the Shiren Massacre, but I think he's going to opt to hang on to that for now so he can actually use that Shiren in if he needs to teleport back there, like if you were to find the Styxy Key, for example, or the Sword of Wind and the Ball of Wind. He's going to head straight for Sahara. So Sahara is going to not only get them an additional warp point, it's going to get them quick access to the rabbit here, Dio, which once they get the change spell, they can get an item from. And it's also going to give them access to the pyramid, which is going to be an extra 3 chests. No way, we're not calling it a slumber party. We know what it is. Mato comes through there and wrecks that. And our poor buddy Stom. Anybody want to place bets on who's going to kick him in the head today? My money's on Gozen. Gozen going to trip right over Stom's face on his way into Mato. That's what I'm calling. So getting our first look into the pyramid here. The monster set's got those butterflies right there. Nobody likes seeing butterflies. Butterflies are huge jerks. But not terrible. Ooh, also some Medusas there. Good to grind on. Highest tier enemy in the game in that group of monsters as far as experience is concerned. And that's a consumable. That's right, throw that antidote away. And get an antidote for your troubles. You picked the good item to throw away. It's like as if you picked up nothing at all. Gozen got his MP drained by a sand puddle, and that sand puddle shoots off an ability that drains, I believe it's 15 MP, and it shoots off 3 of them at once, so he lost his entire MP pool with that one mod. Tornel making his way to Dragon 1 here. Dragon 1 is a fairly simple boss once you understand how he works. He has no iframes, so every frame that your sword is within him, you can do damage to him, and he's extremely manipulatable. But, you know, being a jerk, he drops a Lysis plant because, you know, why not? He is a jerk after all. And also a Sacred Shield from Azteca, so gonna get our first shield here. That shield protects against the Curse Beam, which is shot off by the Warlocks and turns you into a slime. It's also known as the Nooper Beam, and so when you get turned into a slime, that is called a Nooper, and there is an item in the game called the Fruit of Repin, which is Nooper spelled backwards, and that's the only thing in the game that actually cures it, unless you were to, you know, die and have an opal statue on hand, which will also cure it. So Gozen's going to quickly take down Dragon as well here, no problems. And he's going to be rewarded with a Sacred Shield and a lovely Lysis plant that he can't wait to see. Ooh, look at this. In the Oasis Cave across the water is the Ball of Thunder. Now, the nice thing about getting this right here is that in the Oasis Cave, there is actually a Thunder Wall. So that's going to provide them with an additional check, as well as get them into the backside of Goa if they so desire to want to go after Mato 2. Although my money's on that's a big no, considering that nobody wants to go after Mato 2 without the bracelet. Period. And a Mimic. You know, considering that they don't need to buy Warp Boots, I don't expect to see any real Mimic farming in this. Because realistically, the only thing they're going to be going after is instays and maybe the occasional Medical Herb or Fruit of Power. There's really not anything to buy. And with Warp Boots being the most useful of items, that's not, it's not exactly a great thing to need to check. Goes and sets a checkpoint, grabs the Ball of Thunder, and now he can also full clear this side of Oasis Cave. Notice we got another consumable over there in the Flight Island. That's normally where the battle armor is located. And in the Power Ring location here, let's see what our chest is holding. It's another consumable! Game, you're funny today. So resetting out of the cave, because there was nothing but garbage in there. We had 3 consumables within the Oasis Cave. So that's a big reset out of there. I do not disagree with this play. I'm gonna head into the backside of Goa here. So there are 5 items in Carmine's basement, as well as, since they have flight, we're probably gonna see them both blow past the statues. They have a Sacred Shield. They have really low scaling. If they've practiced the flight skip at all, we're gonna see them go straight after Carmine, because that also provides an additional 2 checks. We're going to run by our buddy Kensu here, who has been turned into one of those little noopers. And unfortunately, we have to talk to him, otherwise we'd run right by him without... Oh, look at that! A flail guy immediately on the way down. Hello! Surprise! That was beautiful. I live for little troll moments like that. Those absolutely make my day. And our first of 3 opal statues down in Carmine's basement. And not a bad find. Hey, Sword of Wind. So Carmine's basement holds on to the Sword of Wind and an opal statue. 2 good finds right off the bat. Another Lysis plant. Thanks, game. Appreciate that. Gozen, meanwhile, opted not to reset out, and he's walking back. Pair of eyeglasses. So, coupled with that alarm flute, that will also provide him with an extra check. Oh, that was a Ball of Wind? Yeah, I missed it. Cool. Ball of Wind, Sword of Wind, an opal statue, and eyeglasses. That's a great basement. Nothing but good things coming out of that base. And, as I mentioned, Tornel using the flight skip to get right past the statues here. And he's going to go straight after Carmine. Carmine is the, in the base game, is the last of the 4 generals, and he's supposedly the strongest, but if you actually fight him a couple of times, you'll realize he's probably one of the weakest. For playing out of logic, we are rewarded with a telepathy spell and Dio's Pendant. Dio's Pendant is a great item to find this early in the game because it's going to constantly provide them with MP regeneration. So that's actually a really nice find. As mentioned in the chat, the complete top of Hydra is now accessible to them all the way up to the above Sunspot. They're also going to have access to the Fog Lamp and Carissa plant spots on the eastern sides of the Portoa Valley, and they can full clear the Windmill Cave as well. So essentially, they can also do all of Evil Spirit Island. So at this point, that sort of wind has provided them with a ton of options. So we should see some serious divergence going on here. Tornel is opting to start off with that Vampire Cave. He wants to get those last 3 checks in here. It's also going to provide him with access to Cordell Plains. So that's, you know, going to get him another couple of checks right off the bat, which is not a bad... Gozen, meanwhile, looking like he's a little unfamiliar with how the flight skip works there. But you know what? It's not doing enough damage that it's really going to matter. He does get it on the 4th check, and he is also going to get his telepathy spell and Dio's Pendant here once he's done with Carmine. So let's take a look at what we're going to find here in the eastern side of this Vampire Cave. There is a rock wall that's on the top edge that holds a chest here. So getting to see what's in this first chest is going to be a nice deal. Whether to find out whether the cave of it's a bow of the moon. So now an interesting thing with that is that the Bow of Moon and the Bow of Sun are what actually give you access to the crypt on the backside of the desert. So there's actually a potential right now that the Bow of Truth could be hiding in the crypt, and they could potentially finish the game right now with a 16 scaling here. But I think we're going to see Tornel finish this up here and make a couple other checks before he even considers heading for the crypt. I know myself, if I've got access to the crypt, that's something I want to check. Especially in this flag set here, because, like I mentioned before, if Truth is hiding out there and you already have access to the crypt, you're done at that point. So you would want to check that anytime that you can. Absolutely. Gozen opting to make the same play here. He's going to find his Bow of Moon as well. Not a lot of route diversions, actually, between the two of them. Very minor things. They've actually opted to make the similar checks. Kind of interesting, considering the large amount of the game that they have access to. To see them both running the same path here is kind of interesting. This vampire just going from corner to corner. No thank you. And the magic ring. Magic rings, they actually restore your MP fully. They're not really that useful at the beginning parts of the game, but when you get to the end of the game and you've got a really large amount of MP, those magic rings are super helpful. Especially if they happen to find themselves the Storm Bracelet, which gives them access to the level 3 Thunderstorm, or Lag Storm as we like to call it, because that's 40 MP per cast. Tornel opting to heal here. That's an inn that's pretty far out of the way for a very low amount of HP he was missing. Especially considering he's got medical herbs. And I think the... yeah, he's got the medical herbs to be able to do that. He's going to check Amazonas here. He's going to run into Arilys's basement. See what she's hiding down there, because you never know what she's got. Hopefully it's a mimic. That's what we can hope for at best, right? Nope, it's a statue of Onyx, which is, they're going to go right back to Bryn Mawr. Tornel's going to turn that right into our buddy Akahana here, and we're going to find out what he's hanging on to. It's a mirrored shield. Don't care. Moving on. As I mentioned before, Tornel opting to go straight into the crypt now. No complaints about this play. If the Bow of Truth is in there, we not only have a jet seed, but we're going to see a lot of fun. A low scaling dungeon here, or a low scaling tower, where the monsters actually get double scaling with an underpowered character and not a lot of levels. We could see a really dangerous tower without any way of healing or blocking a lot of their attacks. So I really hope that we see some fun stuff here. I could have put the flight spell on about 15 minutes ago, but totally forgot. Man, if this turns out to be the play, I can't wait. This could be the dream seed we've been waiting for here, to see the, like, really low scaling tower. Finding flail guys here in the crypt. Everyone's favorite. Flail guys and beholders. That's a good combo. Coming straight out of the Hydra monster set. Yeah, with their current equipment that they have, if Bow of Truth is hiding out here, they have their work cut out for them. Nope, that's a consumable. We're going to check it because why not, but it's a matter. However, if Truth's hanging out on the other side, that's worth it. Gozen also finding his statue of Onyx here. Gonna go get his mirrored shield. We know he's gonna be happy to see that. A lower defense shield without much use. Hey! So yeah, now that they've made the check here on the crypt, there's a lot of different places that are open to them. Double consumable in the crypt. Good going, game. We appreciate it. So we're going to get to see. Looks like it's going to be a fog lamp check. So fog lamp cave has 4 items. Gozen, meanwhile, opting to not go into the crypt. He's also going to go and check the fog lamp cave, it looks. Oh, Tornel changed his mind. He's going to check Hydra. We got a route diversions here. So there are 3 items up here on Mount Hydra that Tornel's got access to, and there are 4 items here on in the fog lamp cave that Gozen's got access to. So one of these could be the right play. Ooh, a Carissa plant. Once they find change, that's going to give him access to the item on Aurelius there in Amazonas. So that's already a potential progression item. However, Gozen is opting to try to kill these Dragonian soldiers, and they are in the category of do not fight. Their base defense is extremely high, and as the game scales up, it just gets out of control, and they are in the not worth it to kill category ever. No matter what it is, you just don't fight them. So our first new check over here on the on Mount Hydra side. Ooh, a warrior ring is also hiding out within Fog Lamp Cave. Blizzard Bracelet is the first item out on the ledge here in Hydra. That actually puts Mado 1 and Mado 2 into play. So that opens up a number of checks there in Goa Fortress as well. And as I mentioned before, nobody wants to see Mado without the Blizzard Bracelet, and now they've got it. Someone in chat mentioning, Steve in chat mentioning that it gives a semi-viable endgame strategy. Of all of the swords, the Sword of Water is the most likely to get you killed. So that is not a great choice. Fog Lamp Cave was also holding on to the Flute of Lime, which will provide an additional check as well as some information for this cave, which he's not going to need. But they don't have the Sword of Fire yet, which means that Flute of Lime is currently worthless. The last 2 items up here on Hydra are going to be a magic ring from the first check. Oh, getting stoned in midair is Tornel. Now, getting stoned again. The double petrify coming in the cave is... I'm not going to disagree with you, Steve. I would say the biggest benefit of it is the fact that it gives them the extra 4 damage. More than anything else. So that is probably the thing that they enjoy seeing the most. Tornel also is going to make his way over onto the eastern side of Portoa now that he's checked Hydra, which Hydra had potential progression, but just not yet. Not plays that are going to be made yet. Ooh, he's actually not going into Portoa on the eastern side. He's going to go for Evil Spirit Islands, so we have yet again another route divergence. I missed what Gozen grabbed over on the left, but it obviously wasn't the Bow of Truth, because he's going to head down to the Carissa plant. Ah, it was a barrier spell. That's a very nice item to find. The barrier spell protects you from all projectiles. It does have a dead frame every 8 frames, so it is possible sometimes for things to be able to get through it, but it's not a particularly common occurrence, and you would much rather have the protection. Tornel going to make his check here with the eyeglasses and the alarm flute here to find out what Kensu is hanging on. And he's holding his own love pendant. Good job, sir. Now we're going to see a play at Evil Spirit Island from Tornel. Gozen opting to skip out on the Carissa Plant Cave, also going for Evil Spirit Island and making that check as well. I am noticing just how difficult it is to watch 2 runners and do tracking and do all commentary by yourself. This is a fun challenge. I'm enjoying it. Oh, I also missed that one. Good job, me. Ooh, the recover spell is the first item in Evil Spirit Island. Not going to provide any progression, but is going to be able to cure annoying status effects if they happen to get paralyzed or poisoned in the middle of one of these deeper dungeon runs. The paralyze is the one that they really would want to get rid of, because that actually prevents them from charging their sword, which means they would no longer have access to being able to break any walls. So that is the most important one to cure. Gozen, meanwhile, having that warrior ring is going to get a little bit of an advantage here as far as levels are concerned, which means his boss fights are going to be a little quicker over Tornel's, since Tornel is a little lower in level. And we got a medical herb and a mimic in the waterway. Nothing special. They are making plays, but none of the plays are the right one. Or at least none of the plays are the one that they are hoping for. I, for one, am hoping that we have to go through Mado 2, and then we're going to find the Sword of Fire there, and then we're going to end up on Mount Saber North to get our bow. That's what I'm hoping for at this point. Maximum map coverage. Another mimic. Good job. I know Gozen has a little party in his head every time that he sees a mimic. I don't know if he has that same party while he's playing. He definitely does while he's commentating, though. So they're not going to be able to fully clear Evil Spirit Island here. Without the Sword of Fire, I don't see anybody at this scaling trying to tank down Sabera. It would provide an extra couple of checks, but I'm not seeing it. No, Gozen actually did pick up the Love Pendant. So he does have his Love Pendant as well. He did go and visit Kensu and Joel. Gozen could actually do it with the Warrior Ring. At this scaling, it's pretty slow. She's probably going to have somewhere around 100 HP. That's a lot of tanking and a lot of time spent. Granted, it is a long way back if she's holding onto the item that you need, which would be a great troll, but not necessary. It would be more likely for Gozen than Tornel, absolutely. Man, we're seeing a lot of flail guys in this seed. I'm not upset by this. And our friend the vampire is back. Oh my god, getting absolutely bodied by the bats. I'm hoping for a teleport directly on top of him, but nope, not today. Another magic ring. Not a terrible reward. Those are, like I said, as I mentioned before, very nice to find late game. Gozen, meanwhile, using this water sword on the flail guys, but he's down 4 damage on that. And a pair of rabbit boots, no progression there. Do not need at this. The charge ability is kind of nice. However, I would assume that Tornel's going to head to Foglamp Cave right now, which means he's going to find his warrior ring, and those rabbit boots will see almost no use, if any at all. Gozen finding that the consumable there, and it's a Fruit of Reppin. We saw Tornel reset out of it. Gozen just going to drop. He's actually grinded up a fair amount of experience here off of these flail guys, so I'm not surprised that he didn't reset. He wants those levels. So after this, our options are going to be either Crystalis Plant Cave or heading into Goa or Mado 1 or 2. So we're going to see some interesting things here. He did not check the crypt. Gozen has not been to the crypt. He opted to go straight for Fog Lamp Cave. And as I mentioned, Tornel finding his warrior ring, very happy. And those rabbit boots will not be seeing any use today. Gozen coming across his pair of rabbit boots here in just a second. We're going to see where he teleports to. He's going to go for Sabera, I think. Ooh, this will be interesting. Never mind, he was just looking for that extra level. Looks like he's going to make his play at Hydra, where he's going to find his Blizzard Bracelet. No one has yet checked the Crystalis Plant Cave. Gozen looking like he was just checking to see if there was any armor he could buy there. He hasn't found anything yet, and you know, with this kind of scaling, those monsters are going to hit him pretty hard without any armor, so it's going to start getting more and more damaging really quick here. So, you know, it's not the worst play I've ever. And there is Tornel's barrier spell. So now he's got some choices here. It looks like he's going to be making the Crystalis play. Oh, over on Gozen's side once again, today's stream brought to you by the letter F as he gets butterflied. Gotta love those butterflies. I have had some great run-ins with those butterflies. I think I actually clicked off Gozen's Sword of Thunder and Ball of Thunder as opposed to clicking it on. Oops. So Tornel, making his way into the Crystalis Plant Cave here. He's got 2 items he can check in this location. First one coming up right here beyond this rock wall. And he finds a Mimic. Don't care. Doesn't need the cash, so we're just going to move on. Missing the wall there. The actual hitbox for that wall is basically on the upper side of the wall. So shooting down there on the bottom side just completely whiffs. Gozen running into the butterflies again. You noticed how much damage they did. They actually have, in the base game, like one of the highest contact damages there is. So scaling that up here into the randomizer, they are deadly. Well, that's going to be another consumable here for Tornel over in the Crystalis Plant Cave, which means that basically everything that they've done over the last 10 minutes has been nothing but consumables and stuff they can't do. So this is quite interesting here, as now they're kind of forced to go into Goa. Looks like Tornel's going to activate Mado here. I don't know if he's going to go after Kelbast right away. Doing so would get him access to the 3 items in Sabera's area. Nope, he's actually just going to go and trigger Mado and warp out and go right for... Oh, he made sure to go over, say hello to Stom, and stab him a couple extra times to make sure he is fully dead. I can tell you that he is. Mado, meanwhile, Mado is the ninja cannonball. and he is the coolest character that was ever created, you can remind yourselves that no matter how cool you think you are, you will never be as cool as Mado the Ninja Cannonball. So Mado, meanwhile, nothing special. So now we're going to head down into the backside of Go. We're going to see a kill on Mado 2 here. That's going to provide him with the item from Mado 2, as well as, I believe it is 4 more items in the area below Mado. So you got 1, 2, 3, actually it's 5. 5 additional checks beyond Mado 2. Hopefully one of those is going to be the Sword of Fire and the Ball of Fire, so that we're going to have to check out Mount Saber South, because we actually have access to Mount Saber. We will have access to Mount Saber South with the Fire Sword and Ball, and they also have access to Mount Saber North because they have teleport and the telepathy spell. So Mount Saber North is in logic at this point once they get the Sword of Fire. So Gozen, I think, forgetting he had the barrier spell or something. I'm not exactly sure why he reset out of that. Oh, hello, Butterfly. Whap. Blasting a butterfly that was barely on screen, ending up paralyzed, rendering that warrior ring useless until he either cures it or gets poisoned. But with the recover spell, we can easily cure it and move on with our day. Gozen, meanwhile, opting to go in the front door, which means we have a route divergence here. We're going to see a completely different set of checks come up here. This is actually one of those situations where either one of these runners could find the item they're looking for, and they're off. So once again, we get our second appearance here of Mado. This is Mado 2. He is still the Ninja Cannonball, but he's far faster and more dangerous than he was before. He's actually the single most dangerous boss in the entire game. And if you do not have that sword, that level 3 water sword, you want nothing to do. We got an ivory statue, which provides 2 additional checks over on Tornel's side, and a Psycho Shield from Kelbesk 1 over on Gozen's side. So right now, if I have to rate both of these plays, as far as what they received from their first item, I'm going to give Tornel's the higher grade, though he does look like he's not opting to make that check right away. It means he's going to have to go completely out of his way to figure out what that item was. The Sword of Fire is hiding out in Sabera 2's area. What a troll spot for that. Unreal. Oh, look at that! Mado 2's area having the Bow of Truth. Tornel is going to head straight for the end of the game. At this point, he now has access to the end of the game. Gozen, meanwhile, is going to have to find his way into Mado's area. He might actually opt to kill Sabera 2, which means he may not be that far off. But he is definitely playing from the rear at this point. Man, Tornel's play from the backside of Goa, playing within logic. Everything that Gozen is doing right now is technically considered... well, no, this actually isn't logic, now that I think about it, because they do have the Tornado Bracelet, so... It is actually... But Tornel's play just happened to pay off in spades at this time. However, Gozen, now that he has that Sword of Fire, he's going, why not? May as well give it a shot. You know, with 28 scaling, being at level 10, he probably doesn't need to do any grinding, but it's not going to hurt him if he happens to hit level 11 on his way into break. So So Sabera 2 actually has gigantic defense in the base game. She has extremely high base defense, which means that that's going to properly scale up here within the randomizer. And being that Gozen only has the level 1 sword, he's probably not hitting Sabera for a whole lot more than 1 or 2 per hit right now. So even though it is showing like he's doing full damage, probably not doing a whole lot. Sabera opting to play tackle football here. She's playing for keep. Gozen, not too much effort, able to take down Sabera. He is going to find his bow of truth here fairly quickly. If he goes to that bottom right chest right away, he's going to find it immediately. So he will be playing from a little bit behind, but not as bad as it could have been if he had decided to opt out and go. But he is going to go the other way and make a couple of other checks before he finds his bow of truth. We don't have a power ring here, so what we're actually seeing is, regardless of whether or not they use level 3 charge shots or if they opt to use the warrior ring, Dragon has super high base defense, and that's, again, another thing that's going to play into this, is that his base defense is really going to alter this fight. Goes and finding another consumable over there. And Tornel able to take down Dragon. We're going to get to see our first tower. Switching out a Fruit of Power for a Magic Ring is good. Tornel opting to use the Tornado Bracelet here to push these guys along. He's going to try to keep the screen moving as much as he can so that he can get access to, you know, as many hits as he possibly can with that wind shot. Goes and finding change at the north chest in Mado 2's area, but that's not going to matter because he is about to find his bow of truth. Hello. So, having access here with a level 3 sword and the warrior ring, it would feel like this is probably going to be a relatively easy tower, but as you notice, these white robots are going to constantly be firing off these yellow orbs, and they actually have a really nasty habit of getting in between your barrier, especially if you're up close to them. They actually will spawn it inside of the barrier, so it doesn't, so the barrier doesn't actually protect you from that. Gozen does have slightly higher scaling here. Another thing of note is that when they get in the tower, their scaling is actually the values of their HP and damage and defense. They get doubled. So these enemies are going to be considerably more difficult. Now, Tornel doesn't really have any way to heal. I think he has a opal statue, but he's going to have to be careful here because this could quickly turn around if he takes an unfortunate death. He's opting to use the Thunder sword, which is lower damage, but does have the benefit of the spread shot. So it is going to be a little bit safer here, but this is going to be a bit of a slower play. And hopefully it pans out. The helicopters are actually being pretty kind to Tornel. He's getting kind of lucky with the spawns. They're not being particularly trolly right. One tried, but he was prepared. He has reflex like cat. Making his way up to the 3rd floor here. He's on to his last set of robots. We should be seeing a dot done here in probably about 2.5 minutes here from Tornel, providing that he doesn't get bodied here and take a death. Oh, there it was. He saw that shot get right in between his barrier, and oh, there's his opal statue. So, you know, if the game decides to play rough, we may see some nasty things happening here. Tornel is a skilled runner, though. Some shenanigans are going to happen at this point. Gozen, meanwhile, making his way into Dragon 2. He's going to be looking for those lasers so he can actually get some damage in. Took a hit from the bottom there where the barrier spell actually doesn't cover. And he gets a short. Tornel, meanwhile, picking up his Crystalis, heading straight up into the fight here with Dyna. Probably about another 35 seconds from now, his run should be over. And we will have our victor today. That was quite a quick fight there for Gozen. No problems taking down Dragon 2. Tornel, meanwhile, however, he has cleaned up his run. He's finished off Dyna. As soon as the screen goes black, we're going to have the dot done. Congratulations to Tornel, the victor of today's match. I'm going to give this a preemptive Jeff Peters. So, Tornel here, finishing with an official SRL time.
Hello.
45 seconds. Congratulations, sir. You have won today's contest.
Thank you.
So, you know, you made a play there heading into the backside of Goa and opting to take down Mato 2 instead of going in the front door and taking down Kelbesk. So the major separator here between you and Gozen is you went in the back door, he went in the front door.
Man, as soon as I got that Blizzard bracelet, I thought I need to go in the back, and I didn't, and I wish I had. Like, right that second, I wanted to go do it, and I went all these million other places instead.
Yeah, basically that sort of win led to a Blizzard bracelet. That's about it. Oh,
Yep.
Gozen with a really nice play there, pushing that that robot down the ramp, opting to not kill it, forget it, push it down the ramp, get him past the trigger there, and he doesn't have to worry about that guy anymore. He is considered out of play. And he does it to a second one as well. That's not a bad strat here. Tornel, so, you know, you were, as you mentioned, you were hoping to have made that play a little bit earlier, but you decided to check everything else. What'd you think about seeing all those consumables all over the...
Just ultra disappointment. I even made that crypt play just for you, and it didn't give me anything.
Yeah, I mentioned that right off the bat. Now, interestingly, Gozen never went to the crypt. He just did not do... Now, granted, I mean, if you want to argue, he made the right play by not going to the crypt.
Yes, true.
But, he opted to never go there, so that was a big unknown for him. So he had that bow of truth. Oh, Gozen!
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Taking a death, a helicopter coming in at an angle he wasn't able to fire at right away, and taking his life once again. Your stream brought to you by the letter F, hopefully for the last time today. Yeah, that
Did
is
you ever
actually...
find Sword of Fire?
He did. It was in Sabera 2's area. And that's actually what ended up getting him his bow of truth, is because he opted to just warrior ring right through Sabera, and that led him to his bow. However, he actually cleared out all the rest of the checks in Mato 2's area instead of checking that bottom right chest right away.
Oh, man.
Ooh, another death for Gozen. He's having a bit of a rough go here. If you're not used to going through the tower with a Sword of Wind and not having fire or thunder, the tower is dangerous. These robots, they play for keeps. The helicopters are giant jerks. Those turrets fire at angles that can catch you off guard. And this place does not mess around at all. So, you know, when you get a clean tower like Tornel had, you've earned it. Especially with the equipment setup that you guys had to deal with here today. Because, as I mentioned, this tower is playing hardball today.
Yeah, I played a little bit safe using the Thunder Sword just to get more spread here and there.
Yeah, it absolutely does help.
I was worried, though, I was going to have a flashback of me using a safer tactic and losing because of it. I was like, please don't let this happen again, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, with a slightly different set of plays, that could have been, you know, the story here.
I just kept wanting to find that Sword of Fire and never found it. Finally, I was just like, forget it. I'm going to do the play I wanted to do 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, it turned out it was hiding in Sabera's area. She was hanging on to that sword of fire. Hey, if you can keep close watch over the one item that actually can damage you, that's probably not the worst idea.
That's probably true, yeah.
Goes and once again pushing a robot down the chute there. Gonna go for a second one here, but this helicopter's got some other ideas.
I was really happy to find flight when I did, because I almost didn't make that check.
Yeah, so getting an early flight was actually kind of interesting here. It ensured that as soon as you guys got that, and then you talked to Asina after getting the Sword of Water, that shell flute was hiding out there in the barrier location, and it was totally worth it.
Yeah. I did like 3 practice seeds before this race this week, and every single one had a bow on Angry Seed. So it was kind of unusual for me not to have something good there. Either had bow or had power ring.
Yeah, I mean, the reality was that every single area that you guys went to was consumable city, and maybe one item of potential progression, or just reset city. Like Oasis Cave was a complete waste.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
Garbage.
We even had the power ring spot we could get to, and it still had nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of plays that just amounted to nothing. Now it's funny that you mentioned you almost didn't make the check to find flight. So you get your flight spell, and it goes and was right on your heels. He made the exact same play and went straight for it. So that's one of those things that could have had potential to separate it, but nope. You guys essentially, you had a ton of different locations that both of you could have checked at any particular time, and you guys all made the same plays. It was basically a mirror for a lot of the seed. I mean, Gozen just kind of running right along behind you. You had a slight lead over him because he took a couple of earlier deaths. But yeah, he was pretty much right on your heels for the vast majority of this seed, right up until you guys both opt to go a different direction there in Goa. Now, you guys did make a couple of slightly different checks, basically out of order. Now, he went to Fog Lamp while you went to Evil Spirit Island, and then he went to Evil Spirit Island while you went to Fog Lamp. So
they're both
again,
worthless.
Right. Well, except the Warrior Ring.
Well,
the
yeah,
Warrior
that
Ring
was
in the
nice,
Fog Lamp
yeah.
Cave was pretty nice. I mean, that would have, had you come here to the tower and never gone to that Fog Lamp
yeah.
Cave, that would have been a lot of fun. We'd have
Probably
seen a lot of
still be in
wind
the tower.
pushing. Yeah, a lot of wind pushing.
Yeah, I would have been doing that for sure.
You'd probably still be in the tower. It can't be underestimated just how slow the tower is without a power ring or a warrior ring. It really drags on, especially if you don't have thunder. Gozen, meanwhile, making his way in, picking up his Crystalis sword. He should be finishing up here within about a minute and a half. He does have that barrier, so he'll be able to stand on that safe spot that's right there in the center of the room and be cleaning this up here really quick. Wow, Dinah here, not wanting to open up the eye. Dinah's bound and determined to make Gozen use a magic ring here. Nope, there it is. We have the clear. Gozen cleaning up the seed, finishing up his run, and he will finish with an official SRL time of 53 minutes and 54 seconds. GG to him as well. So this puts you in the undefeated bracket, and you know who your opponent's going to be next week.
Well, I'm not undefeated. I had 1 loss, actually.
Oh, that's
I lost to
right.
Axeman.
You lost to Axe. That's right.
I'm 2-1.
Ah, there's a couple of people then that are in the 2-1 bracket. We may end up with Axeman facing off with a 2-1. Because at this point, everybody else is in the 2-1 bracket.
Revenge.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could run into Axe again.
Or you could.
Real possibility. I could run into Axe again. Gozen, joining us at the channel. GG, sir. How did you enjoy that?
Honestly, it was a pretty good seed overall. I didn't really get thrown for a loop on anything. I actually kind of like big brained a lot of things and felt really good about it. I gotta ask Tornel one question. Did you commit to front or back?
I went back.
I knew it. That's what gave you the edge. Okay.
That was actually the one thing that separated the two of you. So you basically dove go at the exact same time, and he went to the back door, and you went to the front door.
Did you double dip the back?
I did.
Okay. That's what it was. I was trying to decide because of the tornado bracelet if I was gonna go commit to the front and climb, or go to the back and come back down because of the water bracelet or the blizzard bracelet, and I just couldn't decide. And I'm like,
I really just did it because of checks. Because Kelbask has no checks in his area.
yeah.
You know, what, 5 checks in Mado's area? So.
I did it for the thought of leveling. I'm like, we're pretty good. We're pretty over leveled at the scaling. I'm just gonna play it safe because I'm not getting healing. I'm not getting refresh. We don't have power ring. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. The much better play would have been to go through the back.
So something neither one of you opted to do, and I was really hoping was going to be required. You guys had access to Saber North, and having that tornado bracelet early would have put Kelbask into logic.
Yeah, well, we didn't have Sword of Fire, so we couldn't get to anything.
Well, we got
You
Sword
had
of Fire.
flight.
But
Oh, that's right. We could have flown up the ramp. You're right.
You could have gone
I'm
straight
glad
up
that wasn't
the
it
ramp.
because I wasn't even thinking about that at all.
Yeah, and there was a high potential that if he was holding on to the bow of truth, that this run is still going right now, and both of you guys are still trying to figure out, where do I need to go?
Which is funny, because I remember when I got telepathy, I was like, oh, I can go Saber North. And I instantly thought, well, I can't get to anything, so never mind. I remember thinking that too, which was totally not right.
So Gozen, today's stream was brought to us by the letter F. You had a few hiccups there during your run. Took a couple of nasty deaths even before you got to the tower. You had some mosquitoes that were friends, and you had a couple of butterflies that were friends too. I noticed you went into a shop at one point to see if you could get some armor. I noticed you only checked one shop. Was there a reason for that?
It was just routing where I was at. I thought about it and went, I'm gonna lose too much time if I dip too many more shops. So it was kind of like a one-shot draw.
Yeah, I mean, you had 5K gold.
Yeah. I mean, I really thought about it. I'm like, I could definitely get the armor, but at that point, I was just frustrated going, I know Tornel's ahead of me. I know he's ahead of me no matter what. And I just kept going with that in mind, like knowing the caliber of runner I'm up against. So I'm just sitting here going, I gotta play like I'm behind even before I start. I've got a 10-minute deficit, and I just had to play it. Yeah, the flyers early. Unfortunately, my cat has not stopped talking to me the entire time, and she actually did something she's never done and jumped up during, like she never comes up into my chair ever. She actually jumped up into my lap during the run, and then proceeded to jump to the desk next to me, and I freaked out, and I actually stopped for like a moment and just looked at her, and then went, oh, I gotta race.
Well, that what you actually don't know is that Tornel bought off your cat with treats before the run began.
It makes a lot of sense why she was so affectionate beforehand.
Tornel playing dirty, making sure he can
Hey.
win by buying off the friendly cat.
Do what you have to do, you know?
Wow.
I have one question for you, Matrick. Did you notice my mummy fun I had this race?
Yeah, you got hit 3 times in that cave.
I was like, give me a break. I even had the mirror shield. I should have switched to it. Next time I will.
Yeah, no, so you did have the mirror shield, and you could have switched to that, but, I mean, realistically, you had flight, and so it's not like you were in any real danger. Now, what is actually kind of funny would have been if you had just kind of let your finger off the flight button and then landed on top of one of them, which I've actually had happen before. It's like, whatever, I'll take my finger off the button for a second. And then just the petrification wears off, and then you just go, yoop, and land right on top of them. It's like, no, get up in the air quick, don't die.
Yeah, I was being careful not to slip off the button.
Yeah, no. So yeah, there's actually some fun things that could happen. So Gozen, do you have any other additional thoughts or anything you'd like to add about today's seed, or your run in particular?
Honestly, it was a PB for me. So there you go. There's that.
Hey, that's something actually to come out of it on the bright side. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah, no, I'm actually super happy with it. Even with my early deaths, my performance overall was pretty good. I only had one spot where I actually debated routing. Overall, I felt really good about this run. So, I mean, I have no shame in losing this match. Like I said, Tornel is a top class runner, so I'm actually happy that it was this close, because the times we've raced before, it's been like 25 plus minutes or 35 plus minutes compared to it. So no, I'm really happy with this.
Well, granted, I mean, from you started playing this only, God, what, 2 months ago? If that long?
Yeah, this is my 50th run of the randomizer ever.
Yeah, the rest of us have been playing since, well, okay, I've been playing the randomizer before you guys. No, I mean, I had access to it before it went public, but basically everybody else been playing it since February when we actually launched the randomizer. So Tornel's been here since the very beginning of the randomizer. So he's got, 10 months worth of play as opposed to the 2 that you've got. So that does actually make a big difference of it. And if you didn't play this game, like a lot as a kid, or you weren't a speedrunner of it, there's just so many little things you have to pick up on and learn, and different little tricks that the game has, and the combat for the game. There's just so much involved in this that there's a ton to learn, and to pick it up in a quick time and put on the play that you've put on up to this point, having been in the getting through your first 2 matches with a victory, being a newer runner, that's a pretty strong showing. So you got nothing to feel bad about. I mean, if anything, you should be very proud of your performance up to this point. So, it's been a good run so far.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, honestly, if you didn't take those deaths in the tower, it would have been a lot closer than it was too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Lost probably 5 minutes in the tower, actually.
Easily, yeah. It just came down to what I had. I mean, going in, I had 2 herbs, and a lot of times it was first floor blue 1, second floor blue 1. I just had, unfortunately, too many things going on. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, like you said, where I'm at and where I am right now, I am proud. I'm not ashamed at all. I've literally played the vanilla game 1 time, and that was 2 months ago, when wonderful people came in my chat and said, "Hey, you like this game? Check out this randomizer." And they posted a link, and I'm like, "Oh, I like randomizers. This game's pretty sweet." And then I played it, and I've been playing it ever since. So it tells you something about this game. So if you really want to check this game out, and I highly recommend that everyone does, go check this out. Somebody should put the link in chat right now. Please go check out that link that's going to be in chat.
The reality of this randomizer too is that this is actually a pretty soft flag set. And if you're actually to go and look at what we have across our different branches for it, there are so many different options that are available for this, and these are relatively tame. It gets, I mean, as Nightdew and I had an exhibition run, the day that my first opponent wasn't able to make it, and we put on a very high level difficult flag set that day, and it shows off just what, that run between the 2 of us. I finished it, I think, in 1 hour and 48, and Nightdew cut it off right at the 2-hour mark, because that's kind of what our allotment is for the runs. And these flag sets here are taking anywhere from 35 to like 35 minutes to 1 hour. So that just shows just how different and how much more difficult this randomizer can get just by changing up the method in which the game throws stuff at you. And so yeah, there's this randomizer has a ton of different things to offer. So it's we're going to see some of that here in the coming weeks, as the new year starts and we get into the brackets. There are going to be fun things coming. I don't even want to know what that is yet, Steve. I'm not ready for that. I'm still in tournament mode, dude. I'm not ready. All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much all I had. Thanks, people, for watching. Thanks for the race, Gozen. It was really fun.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for feeding my cat with treats. You can probably hear her in the background there. No, this was a great race. I'm super happy with it. Thank you, SpeedGaming, for hosting this for us. I greatly appreciate that. I know all of us here who play this game do. Shout outs to my cat.
Shout outs, kitty. All right. Well, I am Matrick. today. And, this race was between Gozengatta and Tornel357. I recommend you follow both of these runners. Get to see a lot of other runs that they do. And signing off for SpeedGaming. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And there will be another race. I think there's actually 2 races that are going to be on Sunday. So keep your eyes out for that. We're going to be back with more exciting Crystalis Randomizer tournament action coming your way on Sunday. Have a good one.